Secretariat is acclaimed as the best racehorse of the last century. Nobody has broken his records. He set a world record in the Belmont, set a record at Churchill Downs in the Derby, was the first horse in 25 years to win the Triple Crown in 1973. But what has made him endure all these years in the hearts of millions of people was the way he won, and the fact that he was more beautiful than nearly any other thoroughbred. Charles Hatton, who was forever a sports writer, just dropped his jaw the first time he saw Secretariat and said, you know, you search all your life for perfection, and when you finally see it, it just blows you away. The reason I wanted to write the book was always because I thought Granddaddy's story was so fascinating, and I thought Mom's story was so fascinating, and I thought it really, the fact that they ended up with this phenomenal horse, there's so many interesting aspects to it and sort of coincidences that I just thought, oh, this story has to be told. This was the headline in the Denver Post in 1972. Littleton housewife wins Derby. And it was the Rocky News, sorry. Fortunately, I have Mom right beside me to correct me. And here we all are as a young family in our Littleton house in about 1968, I think. Being a housewife was, shall we say, she was under-challenged. She did cheer her father's horses on. Here's another picture of her, the Win Circle. But in 1967, a big change happened. Grandmother died very suddenly. Granddaddy took ill and he'd already begun to be ill, but he got a lot worse. And so Mom had to take over the stables. The foal arrived just past midnight on a cold, rainy March 30th, 1970, in the small wooden foaling shed that still stands at the meadow. The aging something royal usually foaled easily, but this time Howard Gentry had to reach into the birth canal to fish out a foreleg that had folded under. He and his assistant, Raymond Wood, tugged and waited, working with the mare's contractions. When the foal's large hips finally popped out, Howard commented, "There's a whopper." Mom had long since taught us that looks and speed do not necessarily correlate, and many a big handsome colt has turned into a big handsome nothing at the track. Mom certainly wasn't convinced yet of his promise, even if she did note "lovely" next to his name in her stud book. What I loved was watching him in an earlier race when he was only 2 years old, in the Sanford Stakes in Saratoga. He wasn't famous yet, nobody was sure that he would really produce, but he busted through. He was blocked, and he was towards the end, and he had done his come from behind thing, but he couldn't get through this wall of horses, and there was a tiny gap that opened up, and he blasted through them, and everybody kind of went, wow. And that, to me, was sort of the first, that was my favorite moment, because that's where you saw him really showing his stuff, his heart, more than anything.
When the crowds were gone, he would just be there, and a few times I was able just to hang with him, and he belonged to the world, but he knew me.